Trust the process, they said. It'll be all right, they said. Joel Embiid's gonna save us. Oh, this Ben Simmons guy, we don't need him to shoot. We're fine. We're the Philadelphia 76ers. We are oh so here. Ladies and gentlemen, what's goody? Welcome back to Wednesday. It's your boy, Oh So Co. You can also call me OSK. Either or either is gonna convey the same way. And ladies and gentlemen, do we have a treat for y'all today? Last NBA video, we did some reactions. We've also done some quizzes, but today is gonna be a little bit different. Now, I know my intros are typically pretty long-winded, so I'm not gonna waste too much time. We are doing a tier ranking of every single NBA team. So that means that if your favorite team is here, please don't get offended, okay? If you don't have a favorite team, you maybe won't. But here's the caveat. We're not just ranking everybody's team or every NBA team. No. We are going to rank every NBA team based on aura. Yes, I know. Aura is the hot topic of the 2020s, I would say. Yo, shout out to Joel Embiid's injury-prone self. Oh, shout out Sam Bowie, man, right? You know what I'm saying? Drafted before Michael Jordan, bro. That's wild. Please make sure to like the video, comment down below some ideas, and lastly, subscribe. And also push that bell notification as well. You know, I definitely want the subscriptions, but I also would love for you all to come back and see some more of the content, so that subscription will take us a long way, along with the notifications. But without further ado, we are gonna get right into this and tier rank these teams. Here's all the teams. We're gonna go in alphabetical order, the 2K strategy, as previously mentioned, starting with the 76ers. Now, the 76ers historically, I would say, might have been S tier, A tier at one point. You know, definitely leaning more A tier, just given that, you know, they didn't have that historical dominance throughout their entire history. But there was a brief period there where you were talking about the Lakers and the Celtics, and also the 76ers. Dr. J. Julius Erving, Moses Malone. And then in the 2000s, they got this man named Allen Iverson. Well, in the late 90s, early 2000s. Allen Iverson is a cultural shifter, right? And so I'm going to give a lot of credit to Allen Iverson for that. He brought the NBA a significant amount of aura, especially in the street clothing category and just being yourself. However, I think it's relevant that this jersey emphasizes what has happened to their aura. The process ruined the aura of the 76ers. Yes, I said it. Everything basically after Allen Iverson's departure has given it a hit. Now, I will say, you know, the times where they were at their peak, you know, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, once it then transitioned to fully Joel Embiid, MVP Joel, it boosted the aura back up a little bit. I would say process aura was probably D tier, F tier, of course. Joel Embiid probably would have brought it up to a B tier. But then recently they've been getting clowned. No conference finals appearances. The MVP fraud that they say he is, you know, because he underperformed in the playoffs. And he also doesn't have a ring. So for that alone, 76ers, since the 2010s, knocked this down to a C tier. I'm very confident in that. And I think that's a good start. Chicago Bulls, your boy's favorite team, I would be doing myself a disservice if I tried to say that this was an S tier team. It at one point was an S tier team. In the 90s, I would say they were an S tier team. It's not even close, right? When you talk about aura, you think about the aura of the Bulls. It was Michael Jordan, right? I almost said Michael Jackson. It's crazy. It was Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? And MJ brought the mainstream appeal to the NBA. I know you give a lot of credit to the Lakers and Celtics, but MJ was the first larger-than-life persona of the NBA. So we give him a lot of credit for that. He definitely kept them afloat in the S tier. 2000 was rough, though. 2000 was rough. Derrick Rose, you know, once he was drafted, definitely helped to boost them up a little bit back from the trenches. But since Derrick Rose's departure, it's basically been nothing but mid. Nobody thinks about the Bulls. They have no aura. Their historical aura holds weight. So because of that, I am going to give them a B tier. But like before MJ and after MJ, where's the aura? Who's thinking about the Bulls? Who was thinking about the Bulls before MJ? Who's thought about them since? Come on now. And if you think about him, it's thinking about MJ. Barely even talk about Derrick Rose and the Bulls anymore. Milwaukee. Milwaukee's weird because they've always had somewhat of a success, I feel like. You know, they've had generational talents, man. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Giannis being a part of your history and having championships with those players is an accomplishment above itself, right? MVPs, a lot of playoff appearances. But here's the thing. Solely off of branding alone, the Milwaukee Bucks are not going to rank high on this list. I'm sorry. They may have the championships and the MVPs and the generational talents. Everything before and after Kareem, null and void. Nobody was thinking about it. Then everything, you know, in between, well, I shouldn't say everything between Kareem and Giannis. Irrelevant franchise. Giannis came, and then he didn't even initially boost the aura, right? It wasn't around till 2016, maybe 2017, where you started to see the aura come in because of his dominance and the playoff success, of course. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. We ain't thinking about the Bucks. We ain't historically thinking about the Bucks. They're going to D tier. I'm sorry, they're our first D tier. They're ranking pretty low. Not a good start for the Eastern Conference. So far, our highest ranking is a B tier. Cavaliers. This is very similar to Michael Jordan, right? When we think about the Cavs, what do you think about? Two things, and they all relate to one thing. The 3-1 comeback and the burning of LeBron's jerseys. I say that with confidence as being a LeBron stan. I think he is the greatest player of all time. The Cavs were irrelevant before him, and they've been irrelevant since. They are the first seed as of the recording of this video. And we don't care. We don't care. We're confident that, I hope, you know, they don't get bounced in the first round, but I'm confident that the Celtics are probably going to make it further than them. They're not even that far off. But the Cavs, man, like, talk about historical order, there's none. There's none. LeBron, when you think about the Cavs, you literally think about LeBron. When LeBron was there in his first stint, if you were a fan of the Cavs, you were a fan of LeBron. All right? And then when LeBron came back to Cleveland, you were a fan of LeBron, not the Cavaliers. Don't fool yourself into thinking you're a Cavs fan, because you're not. Nobody's a Cavs fan. LeBron single-handedly is keeping them in the D tier. I'm actually giving it above the Bucks though, because of the LeBron aura itself. Like, LeBron outweighs the entire Milwaukee organization, unfortunately. But yeah, the Cavs are a D tier. The Celtics. Now, if we hard stop history at 1987, like going into the 87 season, right? Celtics are an S tier team. It's not even close. Then from 88, I would say through 2006. I think that's fair. There's an obvious reason. So basically almost a 20-year stretch. Zero aura. Zero. Then they came back, you know, built the big three. Or the big four, you know, if you want to count Rondo. And I would say, you know, they got some aura points for that. Then it was another 14, 15-year stretch. And then they won a championship again. I will say, though, as much as I want to knock them for the post-80s history and status, they still have 18 championships, and that alone is giving them S tier. Historically, they're an S tier team. They are probably going to anchor the East based on what I'm seeing. Wow, we're 5 Eastern teams in. We haven't even touched the West yet. Yeah, bro, the Celtics are S tier or a team for sure, and I'm confident in that. The Clippers might have F tier. Clippers might be our first F tier. They just are. The Clippers have never had aura. First of all, you're the little brother of the Lakers, right? You play in the same city. Nobody's a Clippers fan unless you probably were just raised around a bunch of Lakers fans living in LA and were like, I'm just gonna go for the other team. What do they have? What do the Clippers have? They are an F tier team or an aura team. Maybe I'm being too harsh, because unironically, being the little brother of the Lakers low-key gives them aura. Actually, yeah, I lied. They're going to get D tier because they are the little brother of the Lakers. I'm not going to do them that bad. I feel like the Lakers name is enough to give the Clippers a name and boost their aura. There are some F tier teams, don't worry. But I'm gonna say the Clippers were revived a little bit because of Kawhi and Paul George. Oh, and then Lob City. Oh yeah, no, they for sure have a little bit of aura. But historically, from the start to finish of their time, basically from the start to now, no aura exists. None. Zero. You know, it's like, I just feel like they're always in the bubble for contention, but never contending. The few times that it did contend, they collapsed. Blew a 3-1 lead, right, in the bubble. And we were all gearing up for the Lakers-Clippers showdown, right? The battle for LA. That never happened. It was branded as the Battle of LA, and the main reason it never happened was the Clippers. Like, what are we talking about? The Grizzlies. So, this might get a little controversial. I think the Grizzlies have more aura than all the D-tier teams, and I'm gonna tell you why. The Grizzlies were at really no point a team that we didn't like. The only time I can remember the Grizzlies having negative aura was when they were matched up against LeBron and the Lakers when Dylan Brooks was chirping, right? And I know it sounds like a bunch of LeBron rant going on throughout this video, but no, genuinely, you look at the media coverage, I've never seen so many people on LeBron's side or the Lakers side, because it's pretty obvious, you know, and I'll admit, even as a LeBron fan, LeBron discourse is annoying, Lakers discourse is annoying. And the Grizzlies made the Lakers seem sympathetic. We were all like, yeah, bro, get them out of here. That was it. Other than that, though, grit and grind Grizzlies, Ja Morant in general, I think just gives this organization some aura. Pau Gasol, you know, like I feel like they're C-tier. Plus, they always have really nice jerseys. Yeah, I'm gonna say they have more aura than the Cavs, Bucks, and the Clippers. Just simply off of like that underdog status. We were always going for the Grizzlies, except that one time. And they're always a team that, you know, y'all think you just want to see succeed. If it was a success aura thing, they definitely be F tier. No finals appearances, but give them C tier. Atlanta Hawks, in my opinion, is the team of the South. Maybe. I don't know. Because you also have the Heat and you also have a plethora of Lakers fans everywhere, right? But I think the Hawks, they definitely have less aura than the Bulls. I'm tempted to say, yeah, they have more aura than the Grizzlies. That's true. So I think the Hawks are the Mecca of the South, or they're in the Mecca of the South, that being Atlanta. I feel like they've always, you know, been a relevant team for the most part. I mentioned that they were mediocre once before for most of my life, if not all of my life. But realistically, you know, you had Dominique Wilkins, you had the 2015 run, Al Horford, Trae Young now. They drafted Luka Doncic, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm joking, of course. I mean, they did, but that's not the point. The Hawks, I feel like they're fair. They're to me, the Hawks are the most mid of mid, like, of all time. There's not a lot to write home about them. I don't have a ton to say about them, but I don't have a lot to say bad. The Miami Heat. This is the easiest S tier thus far. I knew where I was gonna put the Heat before it even happened. You either love the Heat or you hated the Heat when LeBron was there, and then you went back to loving the Heat. The Heat have aura. They have dope jerseys. They have playoff success. They've had some talented players: LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Jimmy Butler, Alonzo Mourning. Like, what are we talking about, bro? The Miami Heat are an S tier aura team. They're at the top. Since the 90s, I would almost go as far as to say the Heat are probably, I can't say the best team, but like they definitely feel like the most successful team. But I guess they're not. No, they're not. But they just are always relevant, bro. Coach Spo, I mean, they're keeping that thing afloat down there in South Beach, bro. Miami memes, like the memes that were coming through when there was the big three. Yeah, bro, I'm very confident in the Heat being S tier. That was the easiest one. The Charlotte Hornets, F tier. There's nothing about the Charlotte Hornets. And because I'm going to specifically emphasize that this Charlotte Hornets carries the same history as the Charlotte Bobcats. So if we're looking at the Bobcats to Hornets, because what confused me about the NBA, and we'll talk about this in a second with the Pelicans, I think they're trying to rewrite history to being that the Charlotte Hornets of new are also the Charlotte Hornets of the 90s.
But at one point in time, those are completely separate. The Charlotte Hornets of the 90s belonged to the New Orleans Pelicans. Because it's so confusing, and even if that was their history, they're going F tier, bro. I'm sorry. They have no aura. They don't. There is nothing redeemable about the Charlotte Hornets. And if you're a Charlotte Hornet fan, I'm sorry. Y'all have never had success. Never had a deep playoff run. Don't even know if y'all came out of the first round, but I know for sure it was never a deep playoff run. At this point, is it wrong to say that your best player in history is LaMelo Ball? What are we talking about? Yeah, no, bro. The Hornets are F tier. Utah Jazz. Very tempted to give them F tier as well. And I am. The Jazz have more aura than the Hornets, but they're still an F tier aura team, bro. The Clippers have more aura than the Jazz. The Jazz, in my opinion, is the most boring team of all of NBA history. Nobody's talking about the Jazz. Nobody's a Jazz fan. The Hornets, at least you have an argument that there are fans. And I'm not putting the Hornets over the Jazz because the Jazz have more success. The Jazz is more recognizable. We've seen the Utah Jazz before. They've had some talent. Donovan Mitchell, Gordon Hayward, Rudy Gobert, John Stockton, that other man that you would think is related to Moses Malone. We won't get into it. Utah Jazz, I'm going to say F tier, man. I'm sorry. But I feel like they also might always be F tier, bro. They have no redeemable qualities. The Kings. Oh, the Kings is tough, right? The Kings is tough because I feel like, you know, if you use the argument of the past, they're probably floating around C, right? They were on that long playoff drought, made the playoffs, and then went right back to being outsider. They broke the drought and then said, "Yep, buddy, we suck again." DeMarcus Cousins was there. De'Aaron Fox was there. I don't know, man. I feel like I gotta put them at D tier, right? Because early 2000s Kings, I would say maybe saved them from being F tier. If they had been trash in that period, I'm definitely confident in F tier, but they're gonna go D. New York Knicks. New York Knickerbockers. Okay. Let's talk about the Knicks really quickly. We talk about how the Knicks are in the Mecca, you know. They have a huge market. One of the craziest markets of all time. One thing that makes me mad about the Knicks is this market, though. I just touched on it. They never sign marquee players. The best signing in their team's history is probably Carmelo Anthony. And what did that give you? What did that give you? Oh, now you have Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson. No, it's a great supporting cast. The Knicks, bro, and here's the thing. They're going A tier because they always have aura. If they had success, they would be easily S tier. If we go off of aura, because I think when you think basketball, you think of 4 teams, right? Like if you're not a basketball fan. Lakers, Celtics, Heat, Knicks. Easy, bro. The Knicks, bro, are constantly relevant. Even when they're trash, they're constantly relevant. They have the unique color scheme. They're basically the first team to do the orange, and in my opinion, I would say do it right. Bro, the Knicks, man, they're an A-tier team when it comes to aura. They will be S if they have more playoff success and sign some better names. But there's going to be A. Lakers. No team is eclipsing the Lakers. I'm not even going to go into a deep dive about the Lakers. Just look at their player history. Jerry West, Elgin Baylor. I'm sure that, what was George Mikan, bro? Jerry West, Elgin Baylor. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wilt Chamberlain. I know I went over a little bit there. Magic Johnson. Kobe Bryant. Shaquille O'Neal. LeBron James. Dwight Howard. I know he wasn't the best at that time. Steve Nash, bro. Pau Gasol. Did I mention Pau Gasol yet? Don't know. Pau Gasol, Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic. This team has 17 championships and have been the most relevant team since the 80s, since the mid to late 80s, and it's not even close. There has never been a long stretch, where the Lakers were trash. And even when they were trash, they always had star power. The few times when they didn't, they still had Lonzo Ball. They still had the aura of the young team. Lonzo, Julius Randle, all that good stuff. The Lakers just find a way to stay relevant and sign marquee matchups. I'm giving them S tier. Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic, kind of similar to the Knicks, not in a sense of like the market per se, but I feel like they're always relevant. And I feel like the Magic, I'm gonna give them a B tier. As crazy as that may sound, they had the Shaq days, Penny Hardaway, of course, Dwight Howard days. They're coming along a little bit better now. And they were obviously stretched where they weren't good. But then the Mavericks aura outstands the teams below them. It clears it, in my opinion. I don't think they have more aura than the Bulls, but I'm very confident in saying that they do have a decent amount of aura when it comes to history, because the Magic have always been relevant. And they've always had some dominant big men. So shouts out to Orlando, man. Yeah, y'all can stay in the B tier. The Mavericks. I clowned the Mavericks in a short that I did. Talked about the logo, because it really does grind my gears that the Mavericks logo isn't a cattle, because a Maverick is not a horse. Nonetheless, the Mavericks, I think they're also B tier. I'd give them the edge over the Magic, simply because when the Mavericks do stuff that's goofy, like trading Luka Doncic or missing the playoffs the year after winning a championship, it's just fun, bro. The Mavericks are a fun team all the time. They've had Luka Doncic, Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash. Like, they've had some relevance in their franchise. You have to have sympathy for them for the 2006 finals, bro, because it does feel like they kind of got robbed. It does. But shouts out to Mavericks, man. I'm gonna say though, y'all do keep me entertained a lot, and I'm gonna give y'all B tier because I think that y'all do y'all job very well. Brooklyn Nets alone, bro, F tier. Not. I'm gonna say something that's really crazy. Ever since the Nets became the Brooklyn Nets, tell me if I'm lying, but the most fun it has ever been watching the Brooklyn Nets was when D'Angelo Russell was there the first time. Do y'all remember that bench? The Brooklyn Nets, because of D'Angelo Russell, will be a D tier, but we will consider the New Jersey Nets as part of the history, and because of that, I'm going to give them C tier. And I'm actually going to give them C tier aura above the Hawks. I think they're below the Hawks because of everything since they've been the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets in itself would have no aura, but because the New Jersey Nets do exist and we're taking into account all the history, I'm going to put them in C tier. Nuggets. Nuggets have aura, man. And I'm tempted to say they have more aura than the Mavericks because they had Melo. They had the Melo run, and they have Jokic. And in the 90s, they were pretty relevant. I think that's safe. I think I'm going that because the Nuggets always have relevance. They're always good. They always have good coaches. They have the playoff success. They have the stars. They have fun basketball. Jokic, Murray, the bubble run, the championship run. Yeah, the Nuggets I have fond memories of, man. And I don't think they were ever a team that I didn't like or I was like, man, this is boring. They were always exciting to me. So I'm going to give them a B tier aura, and I like their jerseys. Pacers. Pacers are weird too because they have the success argument as well. They don't have like the championship pedigree, but they have the relevancy pedigree. They are more relevant than the 76ers. I'm just tempted to say if they are on the same level as the Magic and the rest of those teams, I think they're too dull too, though. I think they're too dull to hit up this next tier. Flair and Flash and all that stuff. You have Paul George's time there, Victor Oladipo maybe, but Reggie Miller in the 90s. They are also half of the Malice at the Palace, which is very important. You know, Malice at the Palace might put them at B because that's funny. It's not funny as a tragedy. It shouldn't have happened, but it's kind of crazy. Pelicans. New Orleans Pelicans. F tier. Yeah, bro. Just because you had Anthony Davis doesn't save you. And I'm gonna give them the Hornets history. And given the Hornets history, like the '90s Hornets history, still F tier. It's still F tier, bro. You're still irrelevant. You have Zion, haven't done anything with him. He barely played. He's barely worn your jersey, right? I mean, I had the DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis time, but like, bro, nah, nah, bro. The Pelicans, and plus, y'all were the NBA's team. Oh, we got the first pick, bro. Oh my God, it's kind of insufferable when you think about it. That the New Orleans Pelicans was just thrown at us and this team, and we don't want them. We don't want them. Honestly, move the Pelicans to Seattle. Detroit Pistons. Bro, even when they're trash, they're relevant. Even when they're trash, they're relevant. I will say early 2010s probably is going to hurt them. I don't have a lot in B tier. You know what? I'm moving the Pistons ahead of the Magic because of their historical significance. I'm dropping the Pacers down to C. I think that's fair. Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, bad boy Pistons, of course. They're going up there. And then, of course, the run in 2004. Rap Trap, the Raptors. Raptors, championship saved y'all from being F tier. Anything before DeMar DeRozan, but like, basically anything before LeBron, you're looking at F tier. So Vince Carter was there. So Chris Bosh was there. The team was never good. But because you have a championship, I'm putting you at D tier, and I would actually put you above the Clippers. Yeah. Putting you above the Clippers, I think you have more aura than the Clippers. The Toronto run, or the 2019 run was amazing. I'll give you that. Putting y'all at D tier. The Rockets, historically, I think we got an A tier team here. I don't think they're above the Knicks, but I think that the Rockets have always been historically relevant. James Harden's tenure, Hakeem Olajuwon, of course with the back-to-back championships, Yao Ming, Tracy McGrady. Even recently, they're good now. Like, the Rockets have aura. The Rockets have the merchandise too. Rockets have good merchandise. Funny mascot. I haven't even mentioned mascots a ton in this video up until this point. And they have one of the best mascots in all of basketball. I'll say the Rockets are A tier. They're always relevant, always good. Have some talent on that roster. I'm giving them A tier. San Antonio. Talk about Dole. They're pretty low, but because they have that historical success, I have to put them at least C tier. I feel like at minimum they're C tier. Ooh, we're finna have a hot take. How did they have more aura than the Bulls? Because the Spurs are classic. Because the Spurs are the epitome of basketball, and they have Victor now. The Spurs, bro, like, they've always been good. They've always had a great coach. Yeah, I'm putting them at A tier, bro. I think that's valid. I think that's very valid, actually. Yeah, bro, that's an A tier team. That's an A tier historical team. Aura-wise, like their jerseys. The Suns, I think they're similar to the Pacers, man. I think, like, they've always been somewhat relevant. They've always had talent. They just don't have a ton of success. I think they have more aura than the Pacers. Oh, I think I gotta drop the Grizzlies down a tier. I think I do. But while I do that, if it'll just, because I think the Cavs are. But the Suns, I think they're top of C tier. They have the 90s aura. Steve Nash didn't really give them aura, in my opinion. I think Amari gave them more aura than Steve did. And then 2010s was rough. 2010 Suns was rough. And they just kind of got back on track. But then you don't do anything with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Kind of became one of the laughing stocks of the NBA recently. I think that knocks them down a little bit, so I'm going to say C tier. OKC. Supersonics and OKC combined, they're going B tier. Let me emphasize how much aura these guys have. I'm going to put them above the Mavericks because they beat up on the Mavericks a lot. When they were the Supersonics, you had Gary Payton clamping. You had the dominance of Sean Kemp in the paint. You had the run with, Durant joining the team for just a year, his rookie year, but they were still relevant. They switched to OKC. I say lost some aura points for a bit. Got it right back. Got Westbrook, James Harden, immediate success, right? Stayed relevant. And when Durant left, they got more aura because Westbrook made it exciting. I'm giving them B tier, kind of mid of B tier. Honestly, I think that's fair. They've always been relevant. They've always had success. Yeah, giving them B tier. Timberwolves, bottom of D tier. Above the Kings though. Anthony Edwards, Kevin Garnett. I'm not even mentioning Karl Anthony Towns because he didn't give them any relevance. He's corny, right? Like he was corny when he was there. But the Timberwolves as a whole, I say there's significant lies with those two, but their win percentage as a franchise is bad. No playoff success, one MVP, no wins. Yeah, they're going D tier. But because of those two star players, I'm giving them D tier alone because Kevin Garnett and Anthony Edwards carry some aura. Trailblazers, tough. Clyde Drexler, Damian Lillard, nice jerseys, have been relevant, it seems like, since forever, but have never done anything. And they're always getting picked on. They're either, Clyde was lapped by MJ as shooting guard, and then Dame was lapped by Stephen Curry. I gotta put them in D tier. I think they have more aura than the Bucks, but that's it. More aura than the Bucks. Warriors, that's another A tier. I would give them S tier, but I think basically after Wilt and before Stephen Curry, they were irrelevant. We believe that was it. That was it between that time. If that time period was better, they would easily be S tier because they have so much success since. And I'm gonna actually put them above the Rockets because they do have the Golden State emphasis, right? Like Stephen Curry carries so much weight himself. I think Durant joining the team hurt their aura, but then the 2022 run picked it right back up. Yeah, I'm gonna give them A tier for that. I think they've always been relevant, during the 2010 stretch. They've always been combative against LeBron and everything. So yeah, bro, the Warriors are A tier. And then we hit on the Wizards, the Wizards, Washington. They've been trash for a long time. John Wall gave them some more points. Gilbert Arenas. But I'm going to be real with you all. They don't have a ton. Historically, though, I think it saves them. They go C tier. And I think they kind of have that name. As crazy as that name sounds. If we're going solely off of 2020s, this list is going to look a lot different. Because the Wizards are going to be in the F tier. They're easily F tier, as a matter of fact, lose that. But everything before the 2020s, I would give them C tier. I think that's fair. So that's the list. Let me see if I can move some stuff around real quick, and I'll let y'all know what the final ranking is in a second. So I thought about it, and this is the new ranking. A lot did change. I feel like it's fair to say, let me do this. I think it's fair to say that the Cavs have at least enough aura to be C tier. When I started to consider, like, you have the Pacers, Hawks, and Nets, and then the Cavaliers have much more success than them, I think it's fair to say that the Cavs are C tier, and the same with the Grizzlies, not as far as the criteria, but because of that relevance I spoke on, I think they deserve to be in the C tier, kind of just mid. Wizards got to knock them down a little bit because of their recent not success. I bumped the 76ers and the Bulls up a tier because the 76ers, albeit we clown on them, they've always been historically relevant, and they've always had like max aura when they were at their peak. And then the same with the Bulls. When they're at their peak of aura. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the final list. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. Make sure to like the video and subscribe again. This was fun. This was one of the more fun times I had because, it really had me thinking about these teams and where they land. Let me know where you would place the teams. And if I got your team wrong, please criticize me in the comments. I'm open to it. That'll do it for me today. If you all like this type of content, let me know as well. And don't let anyone discourage you from greatness. My name is Zoso Co. And we are so out.